Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, Season 3, Episode 7. It is called The End, and it is the final episode, surprising no one with that title. Full spoilers for the episode, and of course the show as a whole now, at this point.
Yeah.
So all the people, because I know all the people comment on this, like who have read the books and like to like tell us about things that are different from the books. Now it's
Free reign.
yeah,
Now.
the floodgates are open. On the comments for this one, you can talk about anything from the books. That's it. We're done. So yeah, we were curious what this episode was going to be because obviously the last one was kind of a finale, but it didn't quite wrap things up. But there was like a finale kind of feeling to it, to a point. In this episode, they're on the boat with Olaf. They wash ashore this island, which happens to be in the shape of the VFD logo, because of course it is. And we get the end of the story. As I actually predicted last episode, a lot of the characters, the side characters, don't come back. That was their send off. Maybe they died in a fire, maybe they didn't. But that's them done. We get a little montage towards the end of some of the other characters. We see that the Quagmires have been reunited. We see that Hookman and Fiona are happily sailing the seven seas. The henge people are actually acting.
They are.
And not being miserable with Olaf. Well, what did you think of the finale then? How do you feel?
I like 80% of it.
80%. I'm interested as to what the 20% is you don't like.
I mean, the final 10-minute chunk I hate.
You hate that chunk?
Yeah.
Which is funny, because I think I have almost an opposite opinion to you.
Interesting.
I think the island stuff is the worst part of the episode. And might be the worst episode, therefore, the whole show.
I actually agree it's kind of weak overall.
Yeah.
I like it enough, right? I get enjoyment out of it, but it's not as strong as other episodes, for sure.
There's a few witty lines, there's a few witty moments, but the whole Ishmael thing, like his whole cult, like living on the island, I wasn't really feeling that.
I'm kind of into it to a point.
I wasn't feeling that so much. It was once it became more about them learning about their parents from the book, and once it got to that, I was like, okay, right, this feels kind of important again. I think it's because Olaf felt really different because he wasn't like, he was just trapped. He was just kind of, it was fun at first. On the boat at the start, it was fine, and then they got to the island, and then there was a good 20 to 30 minute chunk of just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of a weird to have in my final episode.
Yeah, I get that.
It didn't feel come out. It felt like a lot of new things were being introduced in the final episode.
I stand by what I said last time, as it should have ended with the last episode.
I don't agree with that still, though.
Yeah, because I hate all of that conclusion stuff.
No, that's the best part of the episode.
No, I don't want any of that. I just leave it.
No, we had to know some of this. There's no way we could have left it where it was.
I absolutely dispute this.
No. I would agree with this in other stories where I think it should be more open-ended. I don't agree with it in this one at all.
No, this one should be.
No. So we see this girl who I was thinking it might have been Sunny growing up at the start.
Yeah,
when she got
reasonable
off the
guess.
Because it implied it had been a few years since the fire, and I thought because unless it was way in the future and it was meant to be like one of their kids, so, Violet or Clancy's had a kid, and I thought maybe it's just Sunny. Sunny's 10 years later. It's Sunny growing up. And the timeline's not actually that far off because it's a new baby, which is only
a couple of years off. Yeah,
a couple of years younger than Sunny. But it turns out to be Beatrice II is because that's what Kit names her daughter. Names her after Beatrice, and she's looking for Lemony to tell him about basically the family and everything that happened. Because we're at the point of the story now where he kind of has been the whole time, where he knows everything that's happened up until now, but he has no answers post the fire. He doesn't know what happened to the kids. Or what happened to his sister that even has a relative. And for me, this is why the ending worked, is because it was about him finally getting... It was his happy ending. It wasn't about the kids. It was about him getting his happy ending finally, where he got someone who's like, oh no, your entire family isn't dead. There's someone who still cares about you and will share the root beer float with you. For me, that's why the ending worked. Yeah,
see, for me, that's a big part of why like the whole point of this show is, you know what, this doesn't have a happy ending. Just forget it. I wanted it just to follow through on that.
Oh no, Episode 1, that was a lie. That was always a lie. How did you ever believe that? No, 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 no.
Because I'd read the books and it's not a happy ending.
Well, regardless...
One of the very few things that has always stuck with me from the books is the very ending where it's like... So it ends with the Baudelaires leaving the island.
Yes.
And the narrator, Lemony, being like, well, I don't know what happened to them. They might be dead. That's it. I love that.
See, you say that, but that still sounds hopeful to me because he doesn't know.
Oh, he doesn't know, but the idea of answers in any form, I kind of hate.
See, I kind of like learning that because I like the joke where she's like, oh, did you hear about the pirates? And did you hear about this thing? It's like, no, they had adventures just like the ones we saw, like forever.
Yeah, they did, but I don't want to know that.
Well, you have to get over it. You can't just keep playing about this for the rest of the discussion.
Fine, but I'll talk about the stuff I liked in the first half when we get to there. But we're clearly on the wrap up stuff because that's the more important stuff.
Well, I mean, I liked the ending. I thought this stuff on the island just kind of whatever. I think in terms of like the premise of the episode, it's probably my least favorite of the entire show.
Yeah.
Because the fungus gets out, and because Olaf gets harpooned. And
I like that he's pretending to be a pregnant kid, and everyone's just like, "The hell you playing at? You're clearly a man."
Yeah, and there was some witty jokes I really liked. I liked at the start of the episode when they're on the boat, where they're talking about something happened to the boat, and Klaus says we're on the same boat, but it means it works in two ways.
Yeah,
because it's a saying, but it's also he's also literally on the boat. And then also when they meet Ishmael, and Ishmael says, "Oh, how did you come to be here? What happened?" And Klaus says, "Oh, it's a very long story." And Violet says, "Yeah, it's far too long." And then it cuts to Sunny, and she's like, 3 seasons.
Yeah,
that was a good joke.
That was good.
That was good. But just I don't know, Ishmael and the idea that this is an all new character who has some secrets, and they tied it back in. He used to be the principal of the school.
Yeah,
and...
I liked that idea of, oh, okay, that there's a connection, right? And then it obviously goes further with he founded VFD and kind of recruited all the kids from the school.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense that you end the story with meeting whoever started VFD. The idea that he likes this island and no advancement of any kind because eventually ideas lead to schisms, and that's what happened with VFD. Is the schism happened, so he ran off to this island and has started this little cult essentially, and he's controlling people with opium.
Pretty much.
That is also the actor, by the way, who I know mainly as the henchman. We'll call him the Igor of Ghostbusters 2.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Ghostbusters 2?
I've not seen 2. No, I recognize the actor from places.
Peter McNichol, I think his name is something.
I wouldn't be able to tell you where from.
Mac Nichol, not McNichol, Mac Nichol, but he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's one of those actors who pops up all over the place, like on little roles.
Figured.
I was in a couple of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes.
I mean, that's something right there.
I don't remember those like his appearance in that show.
No, do you know what it is? It's probably nothing specific that I can pinpoint, but it's just I've seen him in a handful of things over years, and it's like I just kind of vaguely recognize him now.
He was in some 24. He's been in Dracula Dead and Loving It. Actually, I think I remember. In fact, he played Renfield in that. Right now, I didn't say I said Igor, but that's the Dracula version of Igor is Enfield.
Yeah, I'll let it slide.
Renfield,
it's the same thing. Yeah,
that's kind of funny. So he's an episode of Cheers. He's done a lot of guest appearances in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's just one of those actors. So I mean, I like seeing him, but yeah, the island stuff was just kind of okay. Like there was little parts of it I liked, but them running around in robes and trying to figure out how to get off the island, and
I think the problem for me was it didn't go far enough with it. With the villagers, is that the right word? I don't know. Cult. Let's call them cult.
Islanders,
yeah. I felt like I didn't go far enough with having them have any sort of realization of what was happening.
I never had much of a story with them because even the way it ends, they just kind of leave to hopefully try and find a cure and.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of hoping that it did something with them a bit more.
Yeah,
that would have helped a lot.
I think part of it's also that I'm so just at this point, like it's the final episode. I'm here to like get the wrap up of the Baudelaires and Olaf and whatever that's going to do and whatever answers we may or may not get. that I don't know if in this episode I'm necessarily interested in having the one last adventure of them trying to, like, you know,
Yeah,
get
I
out
get
of a
that.
situation kind of thing. So that stuff was probably a bit weaker for me. I mean, there was a brief point where I thought, are they actually going to kill them all? Are they actually just going to die right here? Is that how this ends?
I'd have been down for that.
But yeah. But what is the? Because I like that we got a little bit of a flashback of, like, you know, the parents leaving the island, but we never got the rest. It was enough to know that the kids got the whole story because they'd obviously go on to read the whole book. But
Yeah.
we don't. We just get the sense that, okay, they're going to get all the answers that they ever wanted. We don't necessarily need to know all of them though.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's fine. And they make the choice to leave, which
Yeah. Pricks went and told us what was in the sugar bowl too, didn't they?
were you not expecting to find out? What was in the sugar bowl?
I was hoping not, given that it had never been revealed before.
I'm not gonna lie. What's in the sugar bowl? You know, the camera tracks into Kit. The music swells up, and she's like, "Sugar." I'm like, that was worth the payoff.
Was it though?
It was.
That's fair enough.
After all the theorizing, ended it with sugar. Like, I think I like everything about the episode except just the actual what they're doing for, like, the middle of it.
Yeah.
You know, like the actual plot of the middle of it is the only thing I don't like.
No, I get that.
But the actual conclusion and whatnot, I quite like. But yeah, well, I mean,
I
it's a
feel like
taste thing, I guess.
yeah, I think for me, whenever I come to rewatch this show in the future, I won't be watching this episode. I will stop at the end of the last one.
Oh, I don't feel that way.
I don't, because there's definitely stuff I like in this episode. I like all the stuff with Kate and Olaf especially. But that final montage with all the stuff, no.
Do you know what's weird though is I feel like you're basing all this on that they've always told us that it's not a happy ending with a happy story and whatever, and I feel like to me,
No.
to me, all the gesturing about how awful it is always being kind of tongue in cheek, and it's not actually been.
No, I get that, but it's not even just that. It's with the montage stuff, like the actors. I mean, I didn't need that. Like the troop, this feels just there because everything needs closure, because everything got closure, and I didn't need all of this. It felt like just because it's the end, I suppose we should.
You didn't need it, but it was like one shot of a montage.
No, but I felt the same with the Quagmires. They're out there. It's fine. Fiona and Hooky, same thing. Like pretty much all of this. I'm just like, yeah, okay. I don't really need this in this episode.
I don't know. I feel like you've been a bit of a grouch with this, to be honest.
Maybe I am. I don't know. It didn't sit well for me when. I don't know. I liked leaving the mystery of just everything open, which has kind of been a big part of this whole overarching story is just, mysteries, right?
Because to me, I don't even feel like they answered that much. Though this is the weird thing is that you seem like you're complaining that, like, they tie too much of a neat bow in this, and I'm like, I feel like there's so many details about the actual VFD stuff and what went on, and because at one point in this episode, Olaf even kind of implies that, wait, you think I killed your parents, and then it's never brought up. It's just like there's never any more to it.
I'll give you that one.
Like
I said, I liked all the stuff with Olaf and Kit.
There's so much history about what went on that's still never actually really talked. I mean, we got that flashback last episode about, how Beatrice killed Olaf's dad, and that kind of set the ball rolling. But there's so much history that's only been implied of that we've never really seen. That
no, that's fine. But it was all the stuff with characters that had not been really even relevant this season for a lot of it. Or if they were, it was just like, well, I felt like I'd already finished with those. Like the actors troupe, I felt like I'd finished with those at the end of that first two-parter. Hookman and Fiona, I felt was finished with at the end of that two-parter. Coming back to it here and then being like, Dad's out there. I don't know. A lot of that just falls flat for me.
I mean, even if you didn't like it, I don't think it really drags much down. I mean, because it's such a quick beat. It's just a little thing to, like, see everyone once again, like a final hurrah for a lot of characters. Because it's worth mentioning, all the characters we see, like, one final little touch of, they're all characters who weren't at the hotel. They weren't part of the big final hurrah for the big ensemble, right?
Yeah, definitely.
These were all the characters who kind of get left behind earlier points in the story that I get the desire to revisit them, and I'd see the complaint if they spent a lot of time on it, or if they'd like overdone it or anything like that. But it felt so quick to me that I don't really have a problem with the.
Fair enough. It was just another, on top of all the stuff at the end with, okay, I guess that okay, there's all these more adventures to be told that I don't like. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. This ending.
I think that's why I think that's why we disagree. Is to me, this feels in tone with what the show has always been. It feels in tone to me, the idea that like things were never going to go back to normal. There were always going to be these adventures. They were never going to just like let things like, because the same on the island when Violet has the idea, but we could do a water filtration system so you could drink proper water, and obviously they Ishmael's like no ideas.
I've already got one of them.
But the idea that they're never like going to settle and not be this, like they're going to be their parents in the same way that
obviously
they're going to keep going on adventures, they're going to keep doing things and fixing things. Except I would naturally imagine that they'll transition from just trying to save themselves to actually trying to help others instead. Like they'll get themselves into trouble to help.
Yeah, I get that.
Situations kind of thing. But no, for me this felt natural to what the show was.
I think it's just for me the happy neat endings annoy me because I like it. This show, I want it just to be bleak. I felt like that was kind of in keeping with. I know you say, oh, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but kind of just sticking with that tongue in cheek bleakness throughout instead of this being this really sweet, happy ending stuff. To me that felt out of tone with what it was.
I don't think I ever expected it to have a bleak ending. Not really.
Fair enough.
I think for me, the entire show, every time Lemony went on about how awful things were and how you should turn away, I always felt like the ending was going to be about proving him wrong.
Fair enough.
And that's kind of what happened at the end, is he was proven wrong because there was happiness to be found at the end of the tunnel. For him specifically, which is why I'm saying the ending works for me, because he's the one who's been telling us how awful everything is, and no one else. I mean, sure, they've been in danger and they've been in all these awful situations, but he's the one who's repeatedly told us this is an awful story. This is there's full of despair and misery, and you should turn away now because blah blah blah. Because for him, it feels that way. It seems that way, given his past and given what he's found out about the Baudelaires up till that point.
And I think for me, I prefer the idea of it following through on that.
I don't understand why.
I don't know. It's just it's a taste thing, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, but this is the thing. That there's plenty of other stories where I like an ambiguous ending, or I like a dark ending, or I like the sad ending. I just with this particular story, I don't necessarily feel like giving it the happy ending actually betrays anything.
I don't know. For me, like the whole thing is all this mystery, right? And then it's all this bleak. Oh, everything's kind of awful. And that's kind of, for me, what the story's about. That, you know what, some things are kind of awful. That's, you just got to keep going. Like Lemony does. He's awful for him, but he's still going. It's I don't know, making it neat and happy at the end ruins that for me personally.
I don't know if it's as bleak as you're making it out to be. I feel like it's bleak in a very hijinks kind of way.
Well, sure, it's a very heightened reality. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, this fit the tone of the show. For me, the ending was exactly in tone with what the misery side of the show has been, which is that it's not that miserable in the grand scheme of things because of what the tone of the show is. So the shift to a happier ending doesn't feel like it betrays anything to me. But I mean, I've seen online that the ending has been divisive amongst people. Fans have went both ways on this. So it's interesting that...
Yeah, it's not the first time when something's been divisive that we've actually split down the middle.
It's not. And obviously you're always the one in the wrong, because that's just natural order of things. But
Hey, I am right about this. I was right about Stranger Things. Sticking to my guns.
No. Wrong about both. So... yeah, it's kind of a weird episode as a whole, though. Like I say, the island stuff makes it kind of the weakest one for me in a lot of ways. Yeah. It does. I actually found myself like about halfway through it because I wasn't enjoying the island stuff as much. Going, I'm glad this is just one episode and not two. I was like, I'm glad this wasn't spread out over two.
like I said, I feel like if it was two, maybe we would have actually got more with the Islanders, developed
Mm.
that, and had more. Maybe actually doing more of a plot would have made it better, rather than it just feeling like, well, let's
That's
kill
true.
20
Yeah,
minutes.
maybe if it had been two parts, maybe like the first part could have been about the plot of the island, and the second one could be just more veering towards ending it and doing all the climatic elements and beats
Yeah, it wouldn't
with
have
the
felt like it was
characters.
maybe mashed together.
So yeah. Also, the Baudelaires have been saddled with another orphan. Like now they're looking after another baby.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, Sonny, you better start like helping out with things soon.
yeah,
Don't want
yeah,
two babies. Come on now.
yeah. I mean, Sonny cooks the cake, bakes. Oh, yeah, and yeah, yeah. Let's just leave the 1-year-old with the big chocolate cake. That's fine. It's definitely not irresponsible.
Eh, that's what I was. I'll shut the baby up for a while. Just let's keep going. Just put cake in
Yeah.
front of it.
The baby doesn't seem to have any special powers.
As of yet,
You know, in the same way that even from the start, Sonny was no, she bites.
she's an investigator, like Lemony. That's how she finds
Okay,
him.
okay, I'll let that slide.
Since in the family.
Sure.
Um, yeah. So, dunno. I like the ending. I don't.
Fair enough. I'm glad you liked it. Just I'm disappointed.
I like the ending, but I wasn't a fan of like a lot of the
Half
middle.
of the episode.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought that stuff, while was not the strongest of the episodes, I still thought the stuff that it was doing was reasonably enjoyable. I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. It was kind of on par with some of the weaker stuff in the show, which let's be fair, even at the show's weakest stuff in the traditional episodes was still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking back at this show as a whole now, like I still think Austere Academy, Hostile Hospital, are my favourites
Yeah, I think season 2 is probably the best overall.
overall. Yeah, it has an advantage though in that it's got the most episodes. Like,
It does, but I mean, this one has, typically an advantage is you have the end of the story, right? That's usually an advantage for things.
yeah, that's
And
nice.
this one has, that season 2. I think part of why I liked it is it had the best of both worlds in that it had the traditional formula and it had stuff after that. Whereas 1 and 3 either were just the formula or they were just all this stuff after, which, depending, 2 had the best of both worlds from
Yeah,
that.
3 did have a lot more Carmelita though than
It
season 1.
did.
100% more, in fact.
Yeah.
Therefore, those points need to be given.
I will concede that Carmelita drags up everything.
Yes. So yeah. Now I like the jokes about the birdcage. Olaf was like, "Oh, who would be awful if to put someone in a birdcage?" And it just cuts to Sonny looking at him because that's what happened to her.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, "What are you looking at? Karma." No.
Yeah.
So there's enjoyable beats, there's enjoyable things throughout it, and at least I like the ending. Although obviously we're split on that, and I imagine the audience as a whole is going to be split.
It's usually how these things go.
So I'll be very curious to see in the comments how people feel about the ending itself.
I actually suspect I will be outnumbered. I feel like more people will be into the happier, rounded ending.
You said that in such a dickish way. You implied there that like people like the happy ending, like that's the easy one. Like
No. I think there's a reason that
us
it
us
has a happy
intellectuals like the open ending that's darker.
ending. No, it's not. I'm not saying that's why I like it. It's not because I'm smarter than you. It's just that
We know that.
it's just the way it feels to me, right? And but I feel like more people will typically be into the happier ending, as a rule. Not necessarily, but
Like I say, I think it works for me because it was about proving Lemony wrong, and Lemony getting his happy ending is what makes that ending tick for me. Had it been like just like cutting to a montage of the kids like on these adventures and like they grow up and like we see them as older adults and they're these adventures and stuff, that'd have been a weird beat to end on, right? Just implying that it goes that way is fine, but
yeah.
giving Lemony and proving him wrong that hey, like even you aren't a lost cause, like even you will get some happiness. That I liked. So
Fair enough.
but that is the finale. That is the series finale of Unfortunate Events. So by all means, let us know what you thought of the finale and the show as a whole in the comments. You can like and subscribe. Worth mentioning, since we're this is the end of a Netflix season, we like to tell you what's coming up in Netflix soon, so that if you're listening to the audio feed, you know when to come back for more content, or if you're on YouTube, you know what to expect coming soon. We have the Umbrella Academy coming in February, which is based on a comic book. Kind of an interesting trailer, so that might be quite good. We have the Korean zombie show Kingdom, which is 6 episodes. That's launching at the end of this month.
Yeah, I think that's in just over a week.
There you go. So we have those. Season 2 of Sabrina's coming in April, so we have that as well. I'm sure there'll be
Probably something else will pop in, because that's how Netflix does things.
Netflix swipe in or swoop in and
yes,
announce things quite close to their release. But
it's weird to know some of these as far in advance as we do.
As also worth mentioning, if you like TV reviews and you're only on our Netflix feed, we do have the Almost Cancelled TV review feed, which is the non-Netflix shows. We do occasional Amazon shows on there. We do weekly shows on there, just depending on what's on. There's not really anything on right now that's weekly, but there'll be stuff coming up eventually.
No, I think the only weekly things we'll be having at the moment, outside of all the DC shows, is Star Trek Discovery, which starts up this week.
Yeah, but explain that. That's not on that feed.
No, it's not, is it? I forgot. Which feed's that on? That is on, what's it called?
You brought it up. I'm not saving you here. You brought it up. You have to explain it properly.
Well, I'm trying to find the feed name so they can search for it. I don't happen to know these off the top of my head. It is called Star Trek Viewers Log Modern Series. There we go. Found it.
But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. Like and subscribe. Get us on Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. I always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?